All right, so Billboard is back to stir up some more controversy with another one of their hip hop lists. What is good, y'all? It's your boy Mixtape Moth. If you are rocking with this content, go ahead and smash that like button for your boy. Also, subscribe if you haven't. But I feel like it has been a while since we've gotten a list from a publication like Billboard or Rolling Stones. Recall last year, there were a plethora of lists that caused a lot of ruckus to usher in hip hop turning 50. But now at 51 years, things slowed down a bit. But we have a new one here from Billboard, the ranking of the 25 best female rappers of all time. So going into these lists, I personally tend not to get too emotional or too overly invested in them because Billboard tends to focus on the criteria of sales and commercial influence a lot more than the average hip hop head would care about. That's not to say that sales should be completely minimized, but let's also be real. A lot of hip hop heads don't really put a lot of stock into the sales argument. But getting right into their list of the top 25 female rappers, at 25 is Tierra Whack. Okay, so I'll be completely honest, I haven't really heard much of her music, but I know if you have 25 spots, just 25 spots to fill, Tierra Whack is going to be within that 25. She comes before Raw Digga or Mia X. At 24 is Doechii. Okay, let's not be prisoners of the moment here. Now, I understand that Doechii is buzzing right now, and she is a breath of fresh air to the Glorilla and Megan Thee Stallions of the world. But has enough time really transpired for her to creep into the 25 best? Obviously, she's not an overnight sensation, and she has been putting in work for a few years, but so is Shay Noor, and notice that we don't see her on this list. At 23 is Gangsta Boo. So truthfully, I would have put her higher, but I am glad that she made the list. Gangsta Boo was a true pioneer in Southern female hip hop, and it was sad when she passed. RIP to the Queen of Memphis. At 22 is the Lady of Rage, so I would have her higher as well. But given how Billboard thinks, I'm cool with this placement, but the Lady of Rage can still rap at a high level to this day. At 21 is Glorilla. I'm not really mad at this pick. Within the past couple of years, Glorilla's been the face of the type of music that she makes, and she has a pretty consistent output. At 20 is Moni Love. I'm actually a little surprised she made the list, but I am glad. I'm not opposed to a pioneer of her status getting that love. At 19 is Lotto. So I actually enjoy quite a bit of Lotto's music, and I think this is a reasonable placement. She can rap. She has the star presence and the sex appeal, kind of like a Lil Kim and Foxy. I'm not saying she's on the same level, but she is to an extent for this generation, that is. At 18 is Remy Ma, so I think that was a decent pick. At 18, she has the bars and the notoriety, so I get it. At 17 was Rhapsody. I actually think this is a good placement. Some would rank her higher, though, for sure. I mean, she's the most significant conscious female artist in the game, and she really makes some thought-provoking material. 16 is Doja Cat. So, I'm not familiar with her catalog, but 16? Again, like with Tierra Whack, 25 slots. 16 is way too high. At 15 is Megan Thee Stallion. This isn't a bad placement at all. Megan has definitely been making waves with the style of rap that she's been making since the pandemic era. I don't listen to her music like that, but she's definitely put in the work. At 14 is Left Eye. Now, when I think of Left Eye, I don't primarily think of rapper. I think more R&B artists with a little rap. RIP though, I probably wouldn't have her this high. At 13 is Trina. Okay, I think this makes sense. I can get with Trina being at 13. Definitely another Southern female rap pioneer. At 12 is the Brat, another solid placement. I can't say I'm familiar with every album from the Brat, but Functified, that was dope. At number 11 is Cardi B. Wow, I'm surprised she wasn't in the top 10 given her sales status. Truth be told, I never got into Cardi B's music, but I will acknowledge she had some bangers and she really did her thing during that 2010 era. At number 10 is Foxy Brown. I obviously would have put her higher, but I'm glad she made the top 10. Unfortunately, it seems like Foxy gets a bit neglected these days surrounding this type of conversation, but I feel she was definitely on par with Lil Kim during the 90s and into the early 2000s. At 9 is Eve. I'm not mad at this at all, and it makes sense given the hits that she was featured on. I probably don't love Eve albums as much as I did a Foxy or Lil Kim album, but Eve can definitely rap. At 8 is Roxanne Shante, so they definitely got it right here in honoring this Queensbridge legend and true trailblazing MC. At 7 is Salt and Pepper. They definitely deserve to be in a top 10 spot. 7, I guess, isn't terrible for Billboard. At number 6, though, is MC Lyte. Now, this is too low. In my opinion, a strong case could be made for Lyte to be the number 1 pick. But given this sales arguments of things, I can see why she's not, but I still think MC Lyte is probably the greatest. At 5 is Queen Latifah, so she is most certainly a top 5 female rapper of all time. Definitely as far as influence. I mean, just a couple of days ago, I even had the urge to replay her Jersey song from that new Jersey Drive soundtrack. And number 4 is Lil Kim. This isn't bad, but I would probably have her at number 2. I mean, Lil Kim's DNA can be found amongst a lot of female rappers. At number 3 was Lauryn Hill. Okay, this makes sense. Now, I know her catalog isn't all that extensive compared to some others, but she did have a crazy run in the 90s. And of course, that classic album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. At 2 was Missy Elliott. I do understand this pick. Personally, I don't enjoy Missy albums as much as some of the other female artists on this list, but I get why she was put at the 2 spot, given her creativity, given her uniqueness, and just her overall artistry and popularity. And it's safe to say her first album was a classic. And for number 1, they have Nicki Minaj. Not too much of a shocker, given Billboard's focus on popularity and sales. Nicki is going to check off a lot of boxes, as cliche as that phrase may be. Now, that being said, I don't think Nicki Minaj has that classic album like some of the other women on this list do, but Nicki can rap at a high level. So yeah, this list is pretty much on par with what you would expect from a publication like Billboard. They tend to minimize the achievement of underground artists or artists that aren't quite as commercial. This is what they do. I'm not going to get upset over this. I've seen these lists far too many times. It is what it is. But immediately after seeing this list, there were a few artists that came to mind that were left off. The first I could think of was Rod Digga. Rod Digga for sure need to be on this list. I would also throw in Mia X. I'd probably also add Jean Grey and Bahamadia. Like Bahamadia's 1996 album Collage, I actually replay more than any artist on this list, honestly. But yeah, what were your thoughts on this list overall? Who should have been on it? Who definitely should have been left off? But it's your boy Mixtape Moth. I am signing out. As always, is peace and blessings. One.